can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Alright guys, was Black Zetsu a karma seal? Now this right here is a question that I've been getting for a very long time, ever since Amado actually did fully explain the karma seal in detail. And of course, Black Zetsu being the manifestation that actually resurrected Kaguya, it would obviously prompt the question of if Black Zetsu was actually Kaguya's karma seal. Now if you guys don't necessarily remember, this was like a long time ago in regards to Naruto time, I don't know, but Black Zetsu was a part of the Akatsuki. Even before that, he was like the right hand man to Madara. Madara himself kind of thought that Black Zetsu was the manifestation of his will. It turns out that that wasn't the case, it was Kaguya's will. And even before that, Black Zetsu was in the air of Indra. Black Zetsu did many more things, but the biggest information about this topic is going to be the fact that Black Zetsu is just a manifestation of Kaguya's will. It's not necessarily a full and complete karma seal, but it would mean that Black Zetsu is like essentially the same as the karma seal, because a lot of people only view the karma seal as a way for an Otsutsuki member to actually be reborn. So it's kind of like a yes and kind of like a no. Black Zetsu isn't necessarily 100% there. The karma seal is not just the manifestation of the Otsutsuki's will. The karma seal is actually the whole Otsutsuki member. The Otsutsuki member copies their DNA and then compresses it into the karma seal. Once the Otsutsuki member implants the karma seal into their vessel, they have to wait a while until that compressed copy actually spreads fully throughout the vessel, and then they're actually able to reborn. Now this right here is very different from how Kaguya Otsutsuki was actually reborn. Kaguya was able to be reborn male because Madara had a lot of Kaguya Otsutsuki's chakra, because he sealed the 10 tails within himself and also then absorbed the god tree. And that right there on the surface for Madara was a very good idea, but it turned out to actually be his downfall, because that gave Madara a good portion of Kaguya's chakra, which then let Black Zetsu attach himself to Madara and then have Kaguya be reborn like that. I think one of the better questions is going to be, which one of these are actually better? Is Black Zetsu better than the karma seal, or is the karma seal better than Black Zetsu? I think I want to kind of make a case for Black Zetsu real quick. I think one of the first things that we can actually bring up is the fact that Black Zetsu got the job done a little bit quicker. Even though I think objectively the karma seal probably can actually work quicker, Black Zetsu, we have to give it up. Black Zetsu got Kaguya alive before the karma seal got Isshiki Otsutsuki alive. Even though Isshiki Otsutsuki wasn't necessarily completely dead, but we understand if the karma seal could have actually found a worthy host, Isshiki Otsutsuki would have probably been reborn already. Now not only that, it seems that the Otsutsuki member, if they do end up using Black Zetsu, they don't necessarily have to wait until the vessel is 100% complete. For example, Madara was not necessarily 100% Kaguya Otsutsuki, and Black Zetsu was still able to make Kaguya out of Madara. But in the situation of Boruto's karma seal right now is about 80% complete. He's about 80% Momoshiki at this particular point. You can kind of make the argument that Black Zetsu could have possibly worked with 80% Momoshiki and gotten Momoshiki revived already. And not only that, we don't necessarily completely know if Black Zetsu has to find the correct vessel. For example, with the karma seal, just like Isshiki Otsutsuki and Jigen, Isshiki Otsutsuki is not necessarily able to revive himself into the body of Jigen, even though Jigen's karma seal is 100% complete, because Jigen himself is not a worthy vessel. There hasn't necessarily been any rules stated that Black Zetsu couldn't necessarily revive himself into someone like, I don't know, Konohama or something like that. As long as Konohama would have a lot of the Otsutsuki member's chakra inside of him, then of course Black Zetsu would then be able to revive the Otsutsuki member. But regardless, there is still a lot of upsides with the karma seal. I think one of the first things being is the fact that the karma seal is a more sure option. For example, if Kaguya didn't necessarily leave back a Black Zetsu and actually decided to implant like Hagoromo with the karma seal per se, it would have been confirmed. Like, even though we know Kaguya technically wasn't dead, they actually did seal Kaguya back in the day, Kaguya would have still been alive. Like, she would have been an actual presence in the actual world. But with Black Zetsu, Kaguya was still kind of sealed. For example, Momoshiki Otsutsuki right now still has the ability to take over Boruto's body when Boruto is incapacitated. Kaguya for over 1,000 years was pretty much sealed. Like, she was pretty much done, and I think that right there is definitely a very good upside to the karma seal. Now not only that, the immediate time for the karma seal's resurrection is a lot quicker than Black Zetsu, because obviously what we know is that Black Zetsu took over 1,000 years to get Kaguya back alive, but the karma seal, referencing by Momoshiki and Boruto's interactions, that right there at a maximum could probably take like 1 or 2 years, possibly even 3 if you want to highball it. So at the end of the day, I mean, if I was an Otsutsuki member, I'd probably opt to use the karma seal minimum, because I'd know that I'd still kind of be relevant. Like, I'd still be able to kind of take over my vessel periodically when he or she actually does go unconscious. With Black Zetsu, you really just putting all of your faith into like this other manifestation of your will. So I'm not completely sure, but now I think it's really important to actually specify the timelines. I think back in the day, 1,000 years ago, it would definitely be a lot more advantageous to use the karma seal minimum, because as of right now, there is a lot of things that could possibly stunt the growth of the actual vessel. For example, Boruto as of right now is taking pills built by Amato, which is pretty much using 21st century materials. Essentially, the pills might have not actually been around over 1,000 years ago, which would then prompt the karma seal to grow unhindered. So hypothetically, if those pills are actually the answer, and for the rest of Boruto's life he stays at 80% and the karma seal isn't actually able to grow more on Boruto, then obviously Black Zetsu would then be the move. But as of right now, I'd still say the karma seal, because I think that right there is just the more sure option. I think one of the biggest things that we can kind of take away from this is the fact that Otsutsuki members out there, they have a lot of ways to actually reborn, and it's not just going to be the karma seal. It's definitely possible that Isshiki, Momoshiki, or even Isshiki Otsutsuki actually did leave back a Black Zetsu to kind of plot their return. So we have absolutely no idea at this particular point, but I do know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. If you were an Otsutsuki member and you were about to die, would you opt for Black Zetsu or would you opt for the karma seal? Again, just to reiterate, I personally choose the karma seal, but again, you can't really go wrong with Black Zetsu either. But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.